Vertigo. What can we say? We saw the newest iterations of Vertigo in play recently. I think the bomb site A is better because I don't know if we can have a look again if there's time. If we can look at the A bomb site while we're waiting for the match to start, just so we can have some discussion, because I feel like it's important. We could just go straight into that. We do need to look at the updated Pinnacle odds though. We can do that at the same time. So the A bomb site, we can talk about some of the changes to it. Not so much the gap in the wall for me, but it's more about how the default plant has moved. So that's moved deeper. So you can see there's a lot of cover from the crane itself. So you're not having the spray Mageddon, but you can go for a certain plant where you can defend it through the gap by the top. So like this. So there are changes. So this does make it more interesting in that respect. So the post plant has more to it now, and I think those are some of the significant main changes for me. They've made the ramp slightly narrower, so you can use one smoke grenade to cover the choke point quite significantly. So the post plant meta is, well, there is actually one as opposed to just spraying through smokes now. So that's a plus, but there are still a lot of difficulties with the map. Was it OpTic who won it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, MSL tweeted and said, I think it was a 2-0 game, and they're like, 2-0, Vertigo is still a bad map though. He didn't he didn't go into further detail than that. Chad, in the meantime, Sponge has been working with someone and has actually made an edit of the map with some changes which he thinks would be quite interesting. I hope they do a video.
I'd like to take a look at that. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I hope they do a video about it. On the B bomb site, I think they removed one of the generators because there's too much figure skating going on there.
Yeah.
So that was made a lot simpler. I don't know how you make that a good bomb site, to be honest. But I would like to see like hopefully he does like a video. But props to him for doing that, because again, some of the pros are just like, this map sucks, in stronger language. It's like, well, you're not helping it get better with that, are you?
I mean,
that's a detail.
I kind of feel the frustration for them in some regards, because it's like, for example, for me, I feel like it is so much of a crowbar shoehorn type situation. Honestly, I feel like it would be better to just design a good map from scratch that gets modified over time, as opposed to a map that is definitely not suited or great, or it diminishes some of the elements of gameplay that are prevalent on many other maps which create great Counter-Strike. Like, why are we trying to sort of shoehorn this into something that's great, as opposed to just using something that's good and then make that great, that if it has the potential to be like that? I don't think Vertigo has a long-term great potential, personally, because of the limitations on the map. And so you can edit as much as you want, but if you're starting off with a bad foundation, it's a bad foundation. So
yeah, I don't think that map can be worked into a way that allows for... You don't really have anything of distance. There's no distances on the map. If you look at the other maps, on a flat plane, we have distance. We don't really have distance. We have, because there's so many structures in the way on the upper levels, but that's not a distance which, the T's need to gain ground across distance traditionally, but that doesn't really exist on this map. There's like holes going up and stairs.
Also, sound goes a long way since they're on top of each other, so you can hear like the long flank sometimes from, you don't have to move that far away to hear people like running behind you or above you, whatnot. So that could be a big problem in general, because like Nuke, that's one of the things. You hear people running down the lower bomb site. You have to be in certain areas to hear that, but it seems like in Vertical you could be almost anywhere and hear everybody.
I think because it could be the case that principally they're trying to, if Valve wants us to just say, okay, well, a small map, we want a small map. We want that idea to work. We want to figure that out. I think that can be a concept that works. I just think the geometry, the architecture, it just is very flawed on this particular map. And I feel like if you have mappers who are super passionate about making great maps, who have experience making great maps and watching Counter-Strike and knowing the ins and outs of professional Counter-Strike, if you get those people to make maps, they're going to be able to find solutions for that stuff and have, again, a good foundation to work from. So that's what I want to see. I want to see those people either as consultants or contractors that are hired by Valve, and then that dialogue going between the two companies.
These odds are crazy.
Yeah, for Vertigo especially.
They're very interesting. I don't know if there's any Actually, they're not crazy. They're crazy. I mean, they're juicy. They're not crazy. They're juicy. I don't know if we have information on Fnatic. I'm gonna have a very quick look, but this will be interesting. But the recent experience from OpTic has got to be an advantage for sure. It has to be. It must. But it was left in by Fnatic.
OpTic seem really comfortable on this map. They have had a lot of strats already. They had a really good understanding of how they would want to play their CT side, and I seem to recall, even though they lost a lot of T rounds, actually, I think they conceded maybe like 7. So it was like a 7-8 scoreline or something like that. They went onto the CT side and like promptly like won almost every single round and just crushed it. So
Really good understanding.
So I'm curious to see how they do against Fnatic.
They've both played it once of late, so there's no telling what might happen. There is no telling at all.
Well, as far as what we see in front of us, it's a round for OpTic.
I want to touch up something about the A bomb site that I think is also important, is that with the gap, it kind of shaves 2 to 3 seconds off the CTs to get in position to look towards ramp, and that's actually really, really huge for the CTs and gives a lot more options to defend the A ramp instead of just sitting back all day. Saw Guardian be very aggressive with the AWP yesterday. That worked.
Deep flashes, Twist is on fire, it's got to put it out, and here comes the variant because the T's can swarm the site now, and swarm they will. The CTs could do the same around these generators, but again, so many angles. Got to check your deep right while you're exposed to 2 potential peaks. Really hard stuff for the retake. It is somewhat suicidal, and Fnatic are on the arse end of that at the moment, the business end of the shotgun.
And one thing I like about OpTic on this map too, on their T side, is when we first saw this map, we saw a lot of A takes. Like teams would just sit A, take A. A was the messed up bomb site. But OpTic did kind of a different approach. They went more of let's focus on taking B more, because obviously if you're CTs, you want to stack towards A because that was the strat at the time. But OpTic is really just methodical with their flashes, smokes, and molotovs towards the B bomb site. They just made a conscious effort to be like, we're going to be the best at B.
Vertigo actually reminds me of the FPV simulator I practice flying on. Has loads of tall buildings I fly around. And there's one of them, what's it called? I don't know, I forget what it's called. There's one of them, Velocidrone, which is like a low-res kind of thing, and it's very Vertigo-y. Not the construction part of the building, but the rest of it. So
it's tall.
Just looking around just reminds me of just flying a little drone around.
Good times.
So we've got a 2-0. I suppose it's a technical pause. Well, okay, we've got 9 people on the server. So yeah, I think I agree with the comments about the longevity. I just think that Counter-Strike isn't Counter-Strike unless you have a flat plane to contest, which I don't really feel like exists on this map. I think that's the issue for me.
Too much elevation?
Well, it's a lack of one thing rather than too much of another. Because if you look at overpass, you've got 3 different ways, 3 different places with elevation, from like short B through connector up to A, CT, T-spawn. So I don't think it's too much of that. I just think it's like you don't. There's no distance to contest and move up people and pop flash and so on really to contest a bomb site. You go up the stairs, you're in front of a bomb site. You go up the ramp, you're in front of a bomb site.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Whereas like on if you look at like overpass, for example, you have to fight to be close to short B, for example. Monster is somewhat suicidal to push. Then you've got the long distance towards A, but you don't really have and the distance of mid as well. But that doesn't really, it's not really a thing here, so. And I suppose you could argue that it requires a different approach, but it's just doesn't feel right. It feels more like a map that should be in like Diabotical or Quake.
It's like having a shoe on the wrong foot. Is that what it feels like for you?
I don't do that. I know what foot my shoe goes into.
I
know what shoe my foot goes into.
You've never accidentally put it on the wrong foot. Just like you're tired, you're waking up, ugh. No?
Well, generally my shoes are next to each other, so it's just hard to do. It's like you're gonna really purposely do that.
It feels weird, I can tell you.
Well, here we go. The HE off the wall. We've got OpTic trying to make inroads towards the A bomb site. So indeed, this gap has caused problems. It does slow down the T push, and it's allowed Crim to get into this position, but he'll be completely forced out. Okay, that's very low percentage. You get a 2-man spray done as you exit. That makes it worth it.
All the CTs are present. The T's can slow things down because they do have Nico on the B bomb site, basically, or like near the B bomb site. So he could try to investigate. They got so much time that the way that all that OpTic had to do is get the bomb, hold position, keep some presence towards A, wait for Nico to get a bit more info towards B. Then, depending on whether Nico wants, then they have two options. Either Nico goes for a backstab and they stay towards A and catch any info plays and punish, or they rotate back. And it looks like they're rotating the bomb back, and they're going to leave one towards... They're going to leave one towards A, or everyone's going back? Okay. So everyone's going back here. And this makes a lot of sense because even like one player in these forward positions on the B side is incredibly powerful because of the nature of the choke points. So Nico needs to make sure he doesn't go too far because he has so much power in these forward spots. And Fnatic had no one on B at all, no one even investigating. And now they may suffer the penalty. Nico's taking actually this is a really good spot. This is where I suspect that indeed. And now Nico can just hold his position.
I think he heard Broland scope behind him. Or maybe he didn't either way. He's still going to go in favor of OpTic. Twist doesn't have a defuse kit. I don't know if there is one nearby. Perhaps there is. Perhaps there isn't. Doesn't look like there is. So even if he pushes, he doesn't have time really to find the eliminations and defuse the bomb. So that will be a 4-0 to OpTic, and indeed, they are looking stronger. Obviously, it's T side, but they look more comfortable in general.
Surprised Fnatic didn't try to make any more info moves after 30 seconds of initially spotting them at A ramp. They just kind of sat back and did nothing for like 30 seconds, which is super risky. I mean, there are ways to find information without committing for kills, right? Fnatic did nothing of that.
Yeah, it's pretty punishing, especially with having given up a bomb site entirely. So that's one option, just spread out a little bit. Get one guy back on the other bomb site. That's another option, ways to get information without taking kills. Oh, hello. Pretty much a max damage grenade there onto Nico. And Crim's going to finish it off. Little gap in the smoke.
I wonder if this is a gap because it hit Crims.
So...
Maybe it didn't.
So small, this gap. Re-smoke as well.
Where's the spray on the walls? Where is the spray? More smoke grenades being put up to take position, but it's spraying around the smoke. But now the wall spray begins. That's some good damage to Twist, but he will respond straight back and get a frag. I feel like it's a lot worse in general for the CTs to do that. Now there's a rotation from OpTic back towards the other side. Big smokes up top. 2-man advantage for Fnatic, make it 1. Just the 1 rifle on the board at the moment on JW. That's a big frag from Existo. And the problems just increase for OpTic. See 2 plays by Generator, moving across each side at the same time. But they're caught with their pistols. Will he survive? JW will take him out. Transfer won't be good enough. Off the side, Snappy goes, and that will be the round for JW.
Barred off Molotov?
Nah, it's a rudimentary one. Standard throw.
Standard. Nice little retake. Fnatic looking like they're all just throwing that away. Giving up 2 1-on-1s really early on that retake. Not really allowing the rest of the team to capitalize on it.
It's kind of classic Fnatic as well, the way that they are able to just always find damage and kills and create awkward scenarios. Because they're making it really difficult for OpTic. But there is their first round, and I'm curious how many they're going to get this half. OpTic have proven to us that they're pretty good at Vertigo. I feel like OpTic are the best team on Vertigo I've seen so far.
Have a look at this. Did we see that pop flash? Look at this push. I've never seen this before. With a flashbang like that, as soon as he pulls out the grenade, he's denied. That is epic.
I want to see that replay.
Absolutely epic. Standoff on the B-bomb sites. Angle is being held. Position is known. Orc is discovered. Config. This is so difficult, and he's not going to get it done.
That was a nice crossfire on the site as well.
Yeah, they set themselves up nicely with that push. Here it is. Here it is. Gosh, that is a sick pop flash indeed. Wow. Looks
Beautiful.
super easy to set up as well.
Flash is really good. I like it.
That is really, really cool.
He's able to run with it. That's the beauty. The beaut.
Middle is taken now by OpTic. And Config looking dangerous here around the sandbags as he pushes forwards. And you got ECS there as well, but Config is just too good. Some significant map control now for OpTic towards B. Although Twist is in position. He's going to deny them. Is there any flashbangs? No, just Twist pushing, and they're just all going to walk into his crosshair. And that's, I mean, that's map familiarity for you as well, like understanding when and where you can get peeked based off of last known locations. And I feel like you wouldn't see that happen on any other map, you know.
Well, after Nico gets picked off, you know he's in the area, right? You have utility still. Throw some smoke and flashes, maybe. I don't know. Not go one by one. Peek together.
Well, there it is. 3 rounds in a row for Fnatic. They've broken the money of their opponents, finally. And Twist is doing, you know, kind of what he should be doing. You don't really want to necessarily just hold a passive angle, especially on the B-bomb side, because as you say, because of the utility, they're going to be able to lock you out. So you have to reposition, try to find use the element of surprise. And more flashes towards this stairs position, but this time it's not going to work out as well.
Oh, this is a big damage round for both sides. JW, how far is he daring to go? Crack peek from Config will be enough, but the bomb's been traded. Crims with Molotov, very well placed. Bomb's been collected by Snappy. Took one for the team, but he won't get far enough. Stuck between the generators. Looking for Copper, got electrocuted.
Oh, God.
Refresh. 1 versus 2 with the P250. There is a AUG to collect with the E button. Oh, there we go. 10 bullets. If he reloads, they know exactly where he is. He's got to deliver a kill with these 10 bullets. There's a scope, some information. Oh, Twist looks the wrong way at the wrong time. Won't get a kill though. Another round in the bag for Fnatic.
Lots of money.
Yeah, they're doing well. Again, though, we saw this last time OpTic played. It was like, as I mentioned, you know, really close half, like 7-8 or something, and then they just kind of crushed it when they moved onto the CT side. I was actually kind of hoping to see them on CT first, but I'll see it soon enough. I would imagine OpTic would want to change up the pace here. It looks like an A rush coming up, so that's it's going to be the case. And I wonder if we might just start seeing T's just smoking this because and running through it, because the position that you gain is so quick, it's so valuable that I think it's probably just worth it, you know.
Yeah.
At least there are different places now that the CTs can set up in, which is another important thing, which you could argue was missing on the A site before. It was like, well, let me hide somewhere and drop a smoke grenade. What was mostly what we were seeing, but now they could actually have an angle. And here is the smoke execute. Wouldn't be an MSL team without a smoke execute on the T side. And Molotovs around the smoke as well, just like on Mirage, but the spray will be favourable for Fnatic. 5 versus 3. But again, it's a question of variance. Smoke grenades and spray. And now it's the post plant again. A big boost. They won't see what they want to. Exist up again. Nothing doing, they've fallen back. So we've got 2 mollies, presumably post plant Molotovs. So they don't need to face straight away. There is a smoke on Twist though.
His peaks are so unfavorable, and smoke defuse is probably the only option at this point. They're pressuring it, so Crimson can't get himself a frag, but there's one of the players that's not shooting, so he can defend against peaks like that, and OpTic will pick up the rounds. And you know what? Maybe they should just do that every round.
That was a pretty disjointed retake by Fnatic. You had this smoke on Twist, and I think in that situation, what you have to do, because Fnatic committed like 1 or 2 people right before the retake and they died a little early, I would have Twist smoke the bomb and tap the bomb right away. What this will do for the T's, it forces the T's, someone has to peek. I mean, it'd be really risky if they didn't. I mean, it's a 3-on-3, 3-on-4 situation, you have to peek. And so they could use that to pull the T's out and then go for the kills. Instead, they kind of just dryly peeked in the T's and they paid for it.
Config's restarting his intertubes. So he may be a moment or 2. Fnatic, 4 rounds to the good at the moment. But OpTic have 5. I don't know what's good now on the CT. I mean, it's just developing from game to game. I don't really think there's even a point in putting numbers on it at present. We saw the style that MIBR had on the CT side, for example, which is something we didn't see from other teams. So I think it's still just too early to really make worthwhile predictions in that respect. But what we can say is that it has favoured T's generally speaking. But again, those changes to the A bomb site are so new that we don't know where the balance lies just yet.
I think with most new maps, it tends to be the case that they start out CT-sided, just because the CTs, like, you don't have to work out, like, the CTs get the benefit of all these defensible positions and setups that are somewhat inherently easy to understand how to do and figure out, whereas the Ts have to figure out, okay, what are the pop flashes, how do we isolate those players, and, you know, how do we manipulate rotations. There's like more complex ideas. I think one of the most extreme examples of this, I think, was Mirage. No, sorry, not Mirage, sorry, Cash. Because initially Cash was really CT-sided, like we was talking like 12 3/2, stuff like that, and then it became the case where it was T-sided, and so it just swung. And that's where it's been for a very long time. Slightly T-sided, well, a bit more than slightly, but.
I think of all the teams I've seen play on this map, my favorite's probably Vanguard style of play.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, they execute on both sides.
Super annoying to play against them.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
They just sit there and they spam and they wait and they spam, and then Jamie leads with an AWP, and then you're dead.
And your right eye peeks you in the face. He's got 2 right eyes.
That's quick. I feel like if I reboot my internet, which is from a very common UK provider, it takes ages to come back. A very long time indeed.
I had a couple of friends, Quake players, who were like at the pro level, and they just bought second internet connections, so that if they had ever issues, they would just be able to switch.
Well, in the DDoS days, plenty of people had that as well. But those switches were pretty cool. Those were pretty prompt. NIP had double connections.
Is it the ISDN days?
Skype exposing everybody's IPs. Last 5 IPs, in fact, I think it was.
That's why you don't use Skype, guys.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I really hate that. It's malware.
That and the difficulty of enabling 2-factor authentication. That requires a manual to do. Which is a lot to do with all the leaks you see.
Years.
Huh?
I think I've used Skype for like 3 years now.
You haven't?
Not really.
You haven't either.
I do everything I possibly can to avoid it.
Probably have so many messages.
Yeah, there's the odd person who... I can't delete mine because there's the odd person who seems to still want to use it. I'd rather use email over Skype.
Just like do that thing. Like I put a message under my name or whatever. I'm like, I no longer use this. you can reach me here. That's what needs to be done, James. You gotta force them to change.
Yeah.
Force them.
All right, we're back. Config is back. The game is back. We resume. Vertigo. Does anybody know what's going on?
Chaos.
Let's see how this continues. So I did. Actually, there's not going to be time just yet. Where we saw the boost, where snipers have been standing on the things you can hop on yourself, they moved it forward, and we saw a boost on there in the previous round. We'll see if that has any value in the rounds to come, perhaps, if it arises. Now, how hungry will I get for information? JW's actually, he's peeking A pretty much. We've got 4 Fnatic players towards this B bomb site, but it exists as the first and 4, and again, it's still variance. Smokes everywhere.
Wow.
But the bomb is being planted.
Look at that, OpTic have a wall of smokes. Is that a four smoke wall of smokes? Not bad. And that's actually so strong. Oh my god. They force Twist back, and then they throw all those smokes. And even if Twist is on the site, he's so isolated. That's actually super strong. I would love to see them do this round again. I hope they do this round again. I want to see how it plays out in practice, you know, against Fnatic.
I think Fnatic might adjust a little bit to where Exist isn't out in La La Land when they're executing. Because that first stat really just snowballs the just rushing in the bomb site after the utility. Only having probably to worry for one more person based on rotations.
God damn.
It's a very good execute in terms of just isolating Twist.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think they even had a smoke, I think, on the hole in mids. I don't know what people call that. Do you have a name for that?
Hole in the wall?
I call it jump up, maybe.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Jump up. I say jump up.
So that I think they even had a smoke for that. I think they're gonna do it again. Yes, please, 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 please. The
I call that window.
Window. Okay.
It's like in ladder room.
If they push it all the way, though, that would be like a really good way to try to deal with this. So here it is. Indeed. So there is a smoke in the little window thing. Yeah, so it's a 4 smoke wall of smokes. And the lurker died straight away, but Fnatic are contesting this much more heavily. But still, it looks pretty strong right here.
You see it's the default plant though. Bardov Molotov.
There you go.
Would stop that.
Also, we saw FaZe yesterday, or when they actually played against OpTic, they had a head boost on that spot that Exist was on. So if they did that smoke strat, if you do that head boost, you can see over the smokes easily. So I would be surprised you start seeing that a lot.
MSL hiding in plain sight. Twist is 1 versus 2, but with the AWP at close range, miss 1 shot and you're done. Land 1 shot and you might be done as well. 7-4 in favor of OpTic. 4 rounds on the board. You wonder if that is a blessing for Fnatic at this point, or if they can get more out of this.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to do that like again, because it would be interesting just to see what Fnatic's response is, because you can get into these like really interesting like micro situations where Fnatic know it's coming, OpTic know that Fnatic know it's coming, and Fnatic tries to adjust, but their adjustments just don't work. And that would be pretty interesting. So you can see that the challenge is there from Fnatic, but they will lose Exist straight away. Exist not having a fun time on Vertigo so far. And OpTic, it's like, are they actually falling back? It looks like they're falling back to T-spawn there. They can go towards A. I was thinking that it'd be interesting if they tried to do that strat with the delay. But look at Fnatic. They've got 3 players towards this B bomb sites and 1 deep on sandbags on A. So that guy is you know, he's been tasked with handling everything towards the A side of the map. Crane's in this off-angle position. Needs to work out. Config checks it though.
How many players does he see on the def cam? I wonder. And they're rapping. They're rapping to the A site. This is interesting. but we've got a sandbag position. Roland, they're lining up for him. Oh, he hits the reload as well. Some peppering, some bursting. And that is an unlikely round from Fnatic. An individual play variant around the smoke, brutalizing OpTic's wrap of the A site. That was proving to be very interesting. I was curious to see how they would have handled the sandbag's position, but we never got there because Roland said no.
Actually, OpTic, I thought, outmaneuvered Fnatic completely in that round. The problem that you saw right there is just a botched smoke. Just a botched smoke allowed Brawland to get 3 kills. So imagine if that smoke was perfect. I think OpTic would have surrounded JW and probably won the round.
Oof, Nico with another kill. Entry towards this B-bombs, it's a B-bomb site. And the rotation there pretty much immediately, JW will make his way over towards middle to make sure that that's covered so they can't split the B side as much. But again, with the wall of smokes, they don't need to go for the split. You can see the wall of smokes comes out again. Flash is perfect onto Exist, my god. Where's the trade at? There it is, finally arriving, 4 versus 1. So OpTic showing us some new stuff here, just showing us what a 4 smoke set piece looks like on the B-bomb site. I'm sure there's pretty decent ways to stop this, but
Fnatic doesn't know.
But right now, exactly, Fnatic doesn't understand what the best way would be.
They're ignorant.
The problem as well is that, like, if a team shows a strong set piece towards the B-bomb site like this, you're going to be lighter on the earlier timings of the map towards A. So that always brings about a risk that if the T side decides to just try to exploit that and do a super fast timing towards A, you'll be under-equipped. And I don't know what the rotation times are truly like from the stairs of B all the way to A, and whether the CTs can... I'd imagine the CTs would be able to get there a little bit more quickly, so maybe that's not as dangerous as I think.
That wall of smoke in B kind of reminds me of Cobble, wall of smoke in B, where if the point of these wall of smoke is to split the CTs from helping each other out. But as you see right there, Fnatic try to play in front of the smoke, the flashes are too much, and they get overrun. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more like either let them have the site and then we would take together, or just straight up headbutt them and try to kill as many as possible before they could execute.
Dying rounds of the first half. We hear footsteps towards A. Some harassment from Crims.
Oh.
Molotov to stop a boost. And there's one behind the default spot as well, forcing the CTs forward. But OpTic slink away. They'll cut the noise, and Fnatic won't dare have division, I'm sure. Unless JW gets hungry for information. You never know with him.
So they have 3 smokes, but not the 4, so... Oh, they have 4 smokes still, actually. So they're trying to, like, fake it out. Oh, my God.
That's right there.
What do you do? What do you do? Okay. OpTic looking pretty dangerous right now. No, it's a noble effort. Yikes.
And you know, James, you guys made a pretty good point on the distance to bomb sites. You could just have up a ramp right in front of a bomb site, and that kind of favors teams that know smoke flash kind of set pieces, because on other maps to kind of counter that, you got to attack them early, slow them down, make them use utility before they get to that spot near the bomb site. But that doesn't exist here. They can pretty much just set there safely and have all their nades. And so teams that have those kind of executes are going to thrive on a map like Vertigo.
Yeah, I think it's an issue. I think it's a big issue. OpTic with a big fight around these stairs. They'll come out on top of it, they should, all things considered. 4 spy in the last run from Fnatic. 2 Deagles and a CZ remain. JW's on a flank with the Honey Badger, but he's just about going to hit the mark. Bomb spotted. Not something you could necessarily defend. He will fight forth and leave Config at half health. Crimson Broadland remain. See refresh is creeping, as is Snappy. The Raw Jewels look to finish things off. Bomb rotates towards Snappy. They'll leave refresh lurking to try and cut Broadland off once they realize where he is. And that will be that. 10 rounds on the T side for OpTic, 5 for Fnatic. Now, where do they stand with 5? Maybe we'll get a better idea of that after this break. And we return. Exist and Brolan have a plan. They have 2 flashes, 2 smokes, and a Molotov. And there are 2 smokes for OpTic. Some kind of wall of smoke retake, maybe. Do they have an early use for one of them? Seems both teams have ideas in this maze of Vertigo. Snappy with a off angle just to maybe keep an eye on things or look for a boost play. And Fnatic take it slow. I think we have a... Yeah, there we go. CT spotting top of the stairs. I don't think they've broken any glass in this round. Often the glass is broken by the T's to throw initial smoke grenades to obscure vision. You can see the lineups. So it looks like a wall of smoke to isolate some of the players on the bomb site, on the B bomb site. And they start to move up. There's a jump throw molly, surely. Yes, there we go. Towards the back. Config still gets a kill though. Taking the silence drop, making things weird. Refresh getting there eventually with the CZ. Spots the shadow. Lovely one tap from him. 4 bullets remaining, being conservative. And that puts OpTic in a very strong position indeed.
Yeah, that doesn't look too good for Fnatic. OpTic looks really good, knowing their setups config with a nice early kill with a unsilenced USB. And then Refresh staying patient in the corner, letting them run by, and then shoot them in the back. Just looks a little too easy. And now if you're a Fnatic fan, you're probably wondering to yourself, why didn't they ban this map?
Yeah, I mean, OpTic, they have some scary stuff, don't they, in this one? Ah, yes. I love it when you see an EK round just melts. I like it. Just, I mean, throw it in the oven.
You thrive in chaos, man.
Throw the chocolate in the oven. Maximum temperature.
What?
450 degrees Celsius.
Chocolate in the oven?
Yeah, that's because it's going to melt super fast, right?
Who puts chocolate in the oven?
Apparently Dan does.
Yeah, I like to get as much chocolate as possible thrown in there.
What on earth are you talking about?
Alright, so Fnatic now hoping not to melt against the defense of OpTic this round. They've got the AK, so they have the weapon superiority, but look at this. We've got 3 players towards A here for OpTic at the early phase of the round. What is interesting to me is that, you know, I feel like actually you have the opportunity to have a lot of movement on the CT side. That might be one of the ways you can deal with T sides, or try to deal with T sides. So, you know, 3 towards A at the beginning of the round, then so move them around, rotate them towards middle, depending on what's going on. Just like keep moving, keep staying on top of the information, and that could be a way to handle things. It's hard to say, but a slow creep here from Fnatic might actually work out, but it all depends on Snappy, because he has found his way into quite an unlikely position, and the distraction will be taken from Config. Even if he just fires a bullet, look at all the opportunities. Oh, but Snappy just goes, okay, well, never mind. I was going to say, I thought it was just a one and done, but Config with the backstab as well. They've got the bomb, and OpTic looking strong.
Fnatic learning as they go along. But maybe it's still doable. JW bouncing downstairs. He's very close to Config. He's got a strong angle. The bomb is on the A-bomb site. 30 seconds remain. He is showing some presence, though. You can see on the radar, Crims is slowly moving forward. But so many angles for him to check. JW 20 HP and now none. They've got enough players to look behind them. OpTic moving around the top. The bomb is very surrounded, and there are 15 seconds to find 3 players. There's no way a bomb plant's happening here, Chris, so he's just taken too long, unfortunately. And that will be that.
That will be that.
I think if you're at Fnatic at this point, do you force buy completely, or do like a half pistol, maybe light armor? Because you do need a lot of rounds. You're down 5 to 13.
Do I want to see? I want to see OpTic rush 4 players A ramp, and if Fnatic go B, then I want to see them do their smoke execute as a retake on the B-bomb site. That's what I want to see. Or they can do this.
Just die.
Chocolate's back in the oven again.
Chocolate's back in the oven. It wasn't hot enough the first time around, huh?
Indeed, indeed. What's your favorite chocolate, James?
I don't have one favorite. I don't often have one favorite. I like a selection of different things.
You're a connoisseur.
Yeah, I like variety. There's a place in France, a chocolatier, which is, I forget the name of it, but it's quite nice.
Coronation Street, that's your favorite, isn't it?
It really isn't.
Because that's a variety of chocolates.
Would you ever
match your description?
Coronation Street is a television soap in America, in the UK then.
Oh.
2 rounds away from victory are OpTic, and Vertigo is looking very, very strong for them at the moment. JW creeping around the smoke. And again, I think this is a learning process for Fnatic. OpTic look extremely drilled, and why not get an early start on a new map, which other people will spend more time hating on. And you put you in a very strong position, so this may make people reluctant to float it against OpTic in future tournaments in a short term. As this is very telling. They seem to be very comfortable. I do think this smaller ramp was an improvement, for sure. Now, as you can see, the CT side can actually do things, although if Fnatic simply checked around the top, I do wonder what might have happened. Especially with a player behind that, the grill of the stairs. That would be a very interesting scenario. Now Crims is once again alone, 40 seconds. He needs to clear the bomb site before planting, but that's the angle we saw Snappy holding before. And it's match point for OpTic. Every round in this half so far. And I wouldn't be surprised if they got the next one.
Ouch. Just sucks that if you're Fnatic, you almost won nuke. You could have taken the series.
Yeah.
And now you're down 5 to 15 on a map that you probably should have banned. If you're trying to learn the process in a match, I don't know. It's not the best idea to do it.
So Siggy was saying that we should focus on this A take here from OpTic because it's pretty damn sick. They got the smoke, they got the Molotovs, got the flashbangs. They have tried to create an answer, and that looks like a pretty compelling one for the fast timings of the Ts.
Yeah, now they can actually do things, so certainly an improvement.
It's like, it is indeed like banana on Inferno. They are really on another level for this map. I think I've really seen anybody else with this level of detail. I mean, Vanguard has some good stuff, but this feels like it's much above that as well.
The OpTic CT side is pretty superb right now.
They're kind of innovating it in a way I haven't seen anyone else innovate it.
Imagine
so
how much practice it must have taken to get to this point. Just this point. They have coordination amongst each other as well.
It does complement their play style in general, though, to give it, you know, a little bit.
And just like that, OpTic with a master stroke on Vertigo, putting themselves at early advantage, and it gives them early advantage. They make plentiful prize money this week here at ECS, the last online week of the season.
Fnatic giving a good run in the first 2 maps, but this map they look completely lost, out of place, and OpTic just look way too good, too structured for Fnatic playstyle. I mean, this map again is short. You said not a lot of long distances to the bomb site, so OpTic can just walk towards the bomb site, get set up for all their nades, and if you don't have a good retake or a structured retake, you're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, at least the way OpTic played it, I would love to see a team that's as good as OpTic on this map play OpTic, just to see sort of like the newest and most advanced look at where Vertigo is at a professional level. But here are the scores, and I think that the individual performances, it's not really about that for what we saw here per se. It's more about the understanding of the map, and OpTic clearly had that in spades insofar as the set pieces we saw, the rotations, the innovation towards dealing with common issues such as a ramp on the CT side. So props to OpTic for putting in that work. It's paid off.
Absolutely, that's just a case of nerding out more. So I did fear the Vertigo pick. I thought Fnatic could win it, and I mean they could. I was right in that respect, but they just didn't manage to convert it towards the end there, which is a shame to see them fall short. But it's great that we got that far just to see how strong OpTic currently are here on Vertigo, and this is the result of the EU leaderboard. So you can see Vitality and Astralis North are the qualifiers from the first 3 weeks when it comes down to prize money. NIP oust OpTic by $750 to take that 4th spot at LAN. So congratulations to Ninjas in Pajamas. You can see a Vanguard there with $15,000 needed to win their final week this week in fact, to pip NIP, but they were unable to do so. So it will be Ninjas in Pajamas making it to LAN of North, Astralis and Vitality. And that is the European show come to a close again. Those are the people who are making it to LAN, and you can as well. ECS.faceit.com is where the tickets can be collected, they can be bought, purchased. Students have discounts available. Check out all the information on the website. We have North America. We've got a big match coming up for you. But before we get there, we've got the HyperX Factor play of the game. I am very interested to see what this is. I think it's from the second map, but I could be wrong.
Oh, do you know?
Okay, JW. So 1 versus 4. This is what I was talking about, which was the first map, not the second map. But there we go. That's what I meant. Okay. Really nice work by JW. 1 versus 4. You never saw it coming. The flashbang was the master stroke. They didn't see him cross, and that ended up meaning everything.
And you saw the money on JW right there. This is a big, big round for Fnatic to win, especially not just mentally 1-on-4, but economically. It changed the game.
It did indeed, and as I was about to say, we have a giant match coming up for you. Team Liquid versus MIBR. Winner goes to the LAN in the final spot. That's coming up pretty much immediately, so a break, and then we've got Carnage coming your way. Don't go too far at all.